For more on this day, let's now cross to our SABC Reporter Zinkhitha Manqinana, who is at the Sisulu University in Mthatha in the Eastern Cape. A very good morning to you again, Zinkhitha. Thank you so much for joining us. Give us some more updates.
Welcome back, Simpiwe. Yes, we are still here, and thousands are expected to fill up the Sisulu University Stadium today. And everyone was shocked when the first democratic president walked out of prison and he called for peace and unity among South Africans. And today, it is that day when people look back at some of the significant areas and places that remind us of why we need to reconcile as South Africans. And we cannot talk about the day of reconciliation and not mention Qunu, where the late statesman was born. And if he was alive today, he would have been 100 years together with Mama Albertina Sisulu. And the theme for this year's Day of Reconciliation is Nelson Mandela and Albertina Sisulu, the liberators. So this is an important day that reflects on the past that it impacts the decisions of today, and also the reasons why people need to reconcile. But let's take a look at this instead that focuses on the Constitutional Hill.
This place has been a place of horror for more than 100 years. You know, there were times, I mean, a long time ago, prisoners were kept in cages here. You know, there were thousands of young African men who were brought here, and their simple crime was not carrying their reference book with them.
This is how anti-apartheid activist Prima Naidoo describes number 4 prison at Constitutional Hill, a place he spent almost a year in detention for his political activities.
When you arrive here, they got these big police trucks that carry prisoners. Those days they used to call them the Black Mariahs. So you come here and there's probably 30-40 people in that truck. And you come and you go into the office and they take all your details and they give you a shirt and a pants, that's all. And you come here and you line up here naked. All the prisoners from that truck, there's about 30-40 people. Then a doctor comes and you're listening and he puts this on you, and he says, you're fine. This is the cell that I was in. I served the bulk of my sentence in this cell. It's supposed to accommodate probably about 15 or 20, you know. When they open you in the morning, I mean, they count you and you come here and you collect your food. As I see, they had separate diets. Powder milk, they give you tea and powder milk for people. You know, African people, colored and Indians, they had the same diet. And then white. Now, that's Gandhi, and that's my grandfather. You see my grandfather, that's his name, Thambi Naidoo.
Born in a family of activists, for Mthatha Naidoo, resistance was always in his blood. The Naidoo family sacrificed 4 generations in the struggle for a free South Africa, and they served time at this jail for their political involvement. Several of them were arrested at Constitutional Hill, first one being his grandfather, Thambi Naidoo, one of the founders of the Indian Transvaal Congress and a close political associate of Mahatma Gandhi.
My grandfather had met Gandhi in the 1900s, and he took part in many of the Gandhi's campaigns. And there is a mosque in Kirk Street called Ahmadiyya Mosque. There was a gathering there and they all burnt their passes. And a lot of people got arrested. And among them was my grandfather and Gandhi. During the early 1960s, when the ANC, together with Mkhonto Wesizwe, took up arms, my brother was one of the first people to be arrested in the Transvaal. And he came here as a waiting trial prisoner. He was sentenced to 10 years, went to Robben Island.
Due to his political involvement, Prima was detained in November 1981 under the Internal Security Act. He was later sentenced to 3 years imprisonment, and 8 months of those he served at number 4 prison.
They took me to the 10th floor of security headquarters. They handcuffed me the back of my hand, and a guy by the name of Major Conrad started smacking me and hitting me. And I had long hair those days, believe it or not. Grabbed me by my head and banged it on the table and saying in Afrikaans, "Coolie, you're gonna shit." And this place is called Timol Heights. When we finish with you, we're gonna call it Prima Heights.
Established by Paul Kruger in the late 1800s as a military fort, the fort soon became one of the most notorious prisons in South Africa, where thousands of black men were imprisoned and brutalized.
First of all, the blankets that you got were filthy. They were lice infested. There were rats here. Because, you know, the toilets was there, and 30, 40 people using it. So there was a constant stench. Stench from the ablution facilities. Sodomy was rife. Constant beating of the other prisoners, all happened within the confines here.
Today, the Old Fort is now home to the Constitutional Court, Women's Jail Museum, Number 4 Museum, and the Old Fort Museum. The former site of inhumanity and brutality is now a place of justice and learning.
And it is places like museums, exhibition, is one place in which we can tell our story, tell our history.
There are many places that remind us of the horrible past that have been transformed post-democracy and are now places of reconciliation, like right here in Mthatha, the Bunga building that was the Transkei Parliament during the Homelands is now the Nelson Mandela Museum, which tells the story and the contribution of Nelson Mandela in fighting for freedom for South Africans.